Now, I mentioned this in my unique writing style video. I do not necessarily have a plan for my plot or my character, but it's very important to develop characters in your story. What I do know is I have my main characters for sure, and as I go along, they're supporting characters, but I don't know who those characters are until I start writing. So, honestly, for me, because of the way that I write, and I'm going to show you an example of how I usually craft my characters and how I do it. But my characters come along as I write. So I develop my characters once the book is done. That's my unique thing. It's important to develop these characters before if that is hard for you. Say develop a character, I'm saying like, do you know what their age is going to be, what they're going to look like? Sometimes I put description of what the characters look like. Sometimes I don't. I let your imagination run wild because writing and reading is all about imagination. So sometimes I don't give it all to you. But knowing age, maybe where they work, what is this character going to be doing? Is this character a father, a cousin, sister, brother? Like, what is this character doing in this story? What is the point of the character being in the story? So those are just the very important things to know from the very beginning. But I'll show you guys how I start my story. Back in the day, how I used to do this is I used to have a baby name book. So that's usually how I got the names for my characters, or even I went onto a internet Google search and researched like baby names, boy names, what the names mean. Because sometimes names meaning come into play into some of my books. For example, I might want to say, okay, this is going to be about Charles. Charles is going to be married to Tina. They're going to have like four, maybe they'll have 3 kids. They got CJ, that's a junior. They're going to have a little girl that's named Tia. And then they're going to have somebody named Jamie, right? And these are their kids. And then, so then I go into there like knowing that this is the wife, right? I go in knowing that he's my main character, right? And then I just throw an age. Sometimes I change the ages, sometimes I don't. And we're going to say that maybe CJ's 6, she's 4. Jamie is a little infant. You know, she's like 2 months. And then from there, I figure out what is this story going to be about. Maybe I want to explore grief, right? Maybe there's going to be something where I need to explore grief. Maybe it's
The murder of
forgiveness. Maybe it's anything like that. Because like I said, my fictional stories are life lessons. So I always try to figure out what do I want this to be centered around. And as the story goes on, I add characters. Charles going to end up having a brother named Peanut. You know, we gonna find out he got another kid. Like, it's gonna be all types of things. That's why plot twists are so good. This is exactly how I write. It's the cards I got dealt. I put the character list in the back because I'm exploring this idea of maybe that will make it easier for people to have like a character list. Look, see? That's going to be my main character. That's going to be the wife. Like, and these are the characters that come along. Like I said, I had to come up with this character list after writing the story. So if you think that that could be helpful, I can really do that in all of my stories because I do have character lists. I'm even thinking about exploring the idea of putting the character list on my website. You can kind of go on there and print it. So it's things that I'm toying with because I do want my books to be read. I think they're impactful and that you would enjoy them. But I don't want you to be confused.